controversial hot take, but I think they should. I think they need to speed up the edition cycle. That is a bold one. A bold one indeed. And it is something that I've just thought of right now. So I could be wrong. Prepare your lambastation cannons. Load the beef shells. But I think that the edition cycle, as it is right now, is too long. Now, let me explain. Let me explain. Okay? Let me explain. I can see Stuart Robertson in chat. He's saying I've gone mad. I can see Orange Black has loaded the shells. I can see people are not gelling with this idea, but hear me out. The last year of an edition under the current regime is basically a year of fucking salt. It's when like everyone's just going off and doing other shit anyway because they're so burned out from the Codex cycle, from the constant balance changes, and from and also GW has only so much to reveal. Look at Adepticon reveals, boys. The 40k side was tragically bad. I'm sorry, it was. Ooh. Basically, all you got was an upgrade sprue for Grey Knights, 3 characters for Chaos, and some slightly different looking Primaris Marines for Space Wolves. That was thin. That was a very thin layer of Marmite on, considering how bloated this edition is, a very thick slice of toast. I'm just saying. So, what I think Games Workshop needs to do, if they're going to continue with, is do 2-year editions. What I would do is go full digital rules, full free digital rules, and I would go full transparency with it. I would have articles like they do now. They're like, this is why we've tweaked this, is why we've tweaked that. No, just and I would do that every 3 months like clockwork, and I would tell players when those were going to be. Like, you could always change the date. You can look, we're aiming for this date, but we'll let you know via social media if we push things back or if we bring things forward, all that kind of stuff. All right, we're going to give you warning. We're going to stop dropping things out the fucking sky. So every 3 months, like clockwork, so every edition gets 8 updates essentially. Then when you get to the end of it's more like 6 updates, because the edition would be released, and then for the rest of that first year, you'd have update after 3 months, update after 6 months, update after 9 months, update after 12 months, update after 15 months, update after 18 months, update after 21 months. So it would be 7 updates. Every edition will get 7 updates. And then, at the end of the 2-year mark, you'd have a new edition. But the new edition would, because we're in an age of digital rules, the new edition would be, we're consolidating all of the changes. And we're going to essentially, rather than having like separate FAQ documents and all this, and separate rules commentary and all this kind of stuff, it's going to be a refinement. So it's basically, it's like every 2 years they go, this shit's bloated out of control. Let's bring it all together in one place. Cut out what didn't work. Keep what did work. Talk to the community about what we think worked and what we think didn't work. And then the next 2 years goes. And they're like, look, we're throwing in a new mechanic because we want to try it out. But if you think, you want to try it out, but if, we're going to tweak it over, every 3 months if we need to, all that kind of stuff. So it's an integration reset. Exactly. But I think you do that every 2 years, because that way, and you're very clear with it, and you're very, very transparent with it, and you're transparent about when you think it's going to happen. You're transparent. You think you're going to move it up and down. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I would do. Siriade, you've vastly underestimated the needs for production lead time. No, Siriade, you misunderstand me. I'm not underestimating it. I'm completely dismissing it. I'm talking about this purely from a rules point of view and purely from a stopping players from being burned out point of view. This might cause GW all sorts of real world plastic model fucking logistics headaches. It might do. It might do. Of course. Of course. Of course. But that's not my problem. That's not my problem. So long story short, full digital, very transparent on what they're thinking about the game right now, which they've been getting better at. So keep going in that direction. And have the rules cycle basically every 3 months with a consolidation every 2 years. And then just have the design team I just have the release schedule focused purely on models, because you don't have to schedule models around Codex releases. You can just be like, we're going to release this model and here's the digital rules for it. The digital rules are free. There you go. That's my mad conspiracy theory. I don't even know if I 100% believe it. I don't even know if I 100% believe what I just said, but it's an idea and I'm throwing it out there. Speeding up the churn will just burn people out faster. See, Mad Larkin, you're misunderstanding me. You're misunderstanding me. Okay? You're misunderstanding me. Because now the design team
it's made to
intimidate focused. The enemy. The back end team, I should say, is focused on making cool models.
It's made to kill your enemy.
And right now, I think there is too much focus on bringing things out to artificial deadlines. Like, oh, we've got to get this out in time for the next Codex release. So you're misunderstanding, man. Like, I'm saying, take all of that. Take that. You guys, you can't, guys. You have to let go. You have to let go. You've been living in a dream world, Neo. This is the world as it is today. Some of you are so inured to the Matrix. You've got such belief in the system that you are trying to fight to defend it. Hear me out. It's a whole new way of doing things. We're not talking about increasing the churn. You guys are thinking, oh, but I've got to have an update every month. I've got to have a new model every month. Because that's when codexes come out. Because there's 26 factions. Oh, there's 26 factions. So we've got to every month for 3 years, basically, we've got to have a fucking new faction come out. That's fucking churn, Mad Larkin. That's fucking churn. There's 26 fucking factions in this game, and GW only runs these editions for fucking 36 months, and they have a month off around fucking Christmas. They have a month off here, a month off there. Do you know what I mean? So really, it's basically every month like clockwork. But they're introducing new factions as well. Yeah, when they're introducing new factions as well. What was like 20? We're gonna be like 28 factions with fucking Emperor's Children and all this kind of mad shit. All right. Basically, right now, the churn is bad because they are linking model releases and rules releases together because they're thinking in terms of digital fucking codexes. I'm like, fuck the codex system. Get rid of the codex system. When you release a codex, not every faction needs a codex every year, because a codex should be handled by Black Library. It should be a beautiful compendium of lore, of updated lore, and with and brand new artwork, a true collector's item. Think of it this way, right? This codex. How many of you solely, hear what I'm saying, saying, by the way, I know we've got more super chats and stuff coming in. I know Twitch gang, you've been waiting. Don't worry. Don't worry, okay? I've not missed all of you. We're going hot now. But how many of you solely rely upon this for rules? I'm going to say something insane now. I bet it's less than 1%. Because it is physically impossible to rely upon this one book solely for your rules and your points. Because the points in here are out of date. So it's only people, a very small subset of people, which like, fuck all these digital updates. What it says in my codex is what I play, and my mates use what it says in their codex. Like, that's a tiny, 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 tiny niche. Tiny, tiny, tiny niche. You can like reading it. You need the code for the app, as people are saying. But so if you're not even using this for the rules, why did you buy it? You bought it either A, because it's the code for the app, and B, if you're like me, because it's a fine addition to your collection. I have every single guard codex except for one, the second edition guard codex, which I'm keeping an eye out for one at a fucking reasonable price. So, no, Mad Larkin, you're not listening to me. Mad Larkin, you're not listening to me. You're not listening to me. Stop trying to predict what I'm going to say. You can't predict what I'm going to say, bro. You can't predict it. Okay, so this codex, not every faction needs a new, what I'm going to call a new model codex. Okay, a new model codex, a Mordi codex, a Mordian style codex is where not every edition, but there is a site. There will be a cycle of them. Okay, but maybe it's like every other edition because of how many factions we're going to have, and we want quality being put into them. We want quality lore being put into them. These should be the pinnacle of paper product from Games Workshop. They should have new, high effort artwork. GW could push back, because a lot of people think about AI artwork being slop. GW could take a stand against AI artwork, and every single piece of artwork in these books could be a big thing that they're all made by real artists. No, the GW's like, we're not going AI. We're going to be having artists doing this shit. And then the lore is, it's a lore update for each faction. So they're not rehashing all the lore. We're not talking like one fucking, we're not talking like, look at this. We're not talking like one fucking paragraph of lore for like a unit. We're talking like a page for each. It doesn't have to be for each unit that's out up until that point. It doesn't even need to be. You could even talk about units that aren't even like available. It's like new units. Like, oh, we've got this cool idea for like this new unit. We put a bit of lore in there for. Maybe that's too far out. I get it. Maybe that's too far out. Okay, but what each codex represents is A, beautiful artwork, B, high effort lore, and C, and this is where I think you get it. All right, this is where I think you get it. This is where I think people will buy them, because people be like, well, Mordian, I'm never going to buy it if it's the same lore every time. Each codex released represents an update to not only that faction's lore, but there's also going to be an update that links into the whole lore of the universe. So it's like, okay, when the Space Marine, let's give you an example. It's like Space Marine Codex comes out, and at the beginning of the edition, and it's talking about, I'm pulling shit out of my ass here. The second Indomitus Crusade, and in the face of the tyrannic threat, Gilliman is, more additional chapters are being raised left, right, and center. There's more Marines out there. Like there's talk. It hints about like how they're perfecting the Primaris process. Like we're entering the golden age of humanity where technology isn't being feared anymore. Although there are some those in the Adeptus Mechanicus, blah blah blah. So it talks about like how the Space Marines are going out there, and then we get to like the Admech Codex. So there could be a whole bit of lore in there about how are the Admech progressing now that they're starting to lose the shackles? How are they progressing? And then it goes over. Then when like the Chaos book comes out, like maybe like halfway through an edition, that is another step forward in the lore. Okay, so there's all these Space Marines out there, all these new Primaris out there. 6 months later, a year later, what's happened? Have some of those fallen to chaos? Have the Chaos Space Marines been resurgent? Has been resurgent with all of these new renegades that they're getting? I'm not. You're just going on about nothing for 10 minutes. No, you're not understanding. Mad Larkin. If you think I've been going on about nothing for 10 minutes, you've not been paying attention. I can't help you. I can't help you. I can't help you. I'm saying that Codex cycles shouldn't be linked to release cycles. I'm saying you use the codexes to properly drive the lore forward, and you can and you can have them all linked together. They're all linked together. That's what I'm saying, man. So something gets mentioned in a Chaos Space Marine Codex, and then that links into maybe a Tau Codex, then links into like a Death Guard Codex, then links in, and it's like you have this like progressive story, and that's why you have this cycle, and that's why you don't necessarily need one every edition. I would rather GW, was going nuts with the model cycles and, releasing new models and new rules because it's all digital, so we don't need to wait for fucking paper codex to be made. And then that's where they're making models. That's where they're making rules. That is full blown into the digital age. It's unshackled, Matt Larkin. It's unshackled. And then the lore is where you go, and the codex is where you go for the lore progression. That's the way you fucking do it. And that way, codexes aren't out of date when they're released. People will still buy them because they're going to be very high quality. They don't let the quality slip ever. And then you've got that combination of people that like the books and the people that are full-blown digital age that only play the game. Yeah. If you use the codexes to drive the narrative of almost Black Library novels, you could turn from people buying their codex to buying every codex. Godlike Poet gets it. Godlike Poet, you beautiful son of a bitch. Godlike Poet gets it. You go from getting people to just buying their own codex because they buy it for the rules and for the code, to everyone's looking forward to the next fucking codex, because what mad fucking shit's gonna happen? Where's the next big battle going to be? Where's the next big crusade? Where's the next Tyranid Hive fleet? What the fuck is going on with Fulgrim? Like, you could have codexes almost hinting at cliffhangers or hinting at big things coming in the future. Think of all the conspiracy theories. There's like a little throwaway line at the end of a codex, like, or you get. I don't know if you still have them in codex. I don't know if you still have them. Yeah, look, you've got these like these the Cadian elites, and those little sidebars, as it were. You have these little sidebars, and it could just be like a little throwaway comment, like Auspex report from listening post A3999247, monitoring Necron activity, listening post gone dark, Space Wolf scout. Elements of Space Wolves have been sent to scout and determine the fate of the recon station, and that could be like a little throwaway comment, and then you have this little throwaway thing, and then the Necron Codex comes out, and it's like, boom! Following the massacre of listening post A39772222, and the Space Wolves investigated, they were all slaughtered, blah, 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 blah. Logo Grimnar now has a personal grudge against this particular Pharaon, and they're marching, and it's linked to fucking get, and people can be like, what, they can, you think of the lore conspiracy videos where people are like, is this throwaway comment a big deal, or is it a nothing burger, where there could be red herrings, there could be all sorts of shit, man. And so the lore can take its time, and people will look forward to each update. And so the rules and the model releases are untethered from the Codex cycle, but you don't get rid of codexes. You improve their quality. It means that GW can 1 month can release something for the Space Wolves. Next month they can do what they can. It means they're untethered. They're unbound, chat. They're unbound. It will just make me get out of the game because they won't have the forethought or coordination to pull it off. Mad Larkin, and that is the rub, isn't it? That's the rub. That is the rub. Because all of this is going to fall apart instantly because it's going to be managed by Games Workshop. That's the problem. So, Mad Larkin, there is the theory craft side of it, and then there's the execution of it. And unfortunately, I feel like the dream won't survive the real world. That I agree with. But I think that there could be. I think it's a beautiful dream to think about. Yeah.
When it comes to fighting crime,
but it's not quite there yet. But maybe I think they should but in summary, for those that are joining us for the very tail end of this absolute madness, and I need to get back on the super chats. But in summary, I think that GW should abandon the 3-year Codex cycle. I think they should go to a 2-year cycle with ultra transparency for when things are coming up, so people can plan around it. Ultra transparency for what they're thinking in terms of where the updates are going to land, so they can gather feedback and stuff. I think they can. I think that they do updates every 3 months to the rules and balance data slates and points and stuff. I think this is all. I think you untether rules from codexes and you untether rules from a codex cycle. I think you go full blown digital all the way. Full blown digital. You can have a paid app, but you pay for the app and you get all the rules in it. So none of this. You pay $6.99 a month and then you have to buy a codex. Full blown rules, and that allows you to. That allows you to release models not linked to a fucking arbitrary deadline, and release models and rules that can then be updated and changed as if they release something and it looks overcooked, they can be like, look, this is the initial rules, but we will be changing it in 3 months, digital rules, all that kind of stuff. And then you have the codexes where they use the codexes to basically, they could have a codex come out every 3 months, and it would be focused on a specific faction but would have no rules in it, and would be driving forward the factions lore as well as driving forward the overall lore of the universe. That's the way I would do it. And it will allow GW, and every 2 years you have a rules consolidation, because inevitably there's going to be bloat. So you have a rules consolidation and clarification, and it's more of a de-bloating than a full-blown new edition. Because right now, I think the problem is that every 3 years they go at this breakneck pace, trying to get every faction. Every month there's a new faction with a new model release, with a new Codex release, and by the time they finished the cycle, the next faction, they need to go back to the first faction again. And I think, conspiracy theory, but I think that GW is burnt out on 40k. Tell me I'm wrong. My latest conspiracy theory is that the staff at Games Workshop are burnt, are completely, the people that design the game, that do the balance changes, and all that stuff are completely burnt out on 40k. And that's why I think the Year of Chaos ended with basically one model for each faction, apart from Emperor's Children, who got a very trimmed down release. That's what I think. I think they're burned out. Mad Larkin, Mordian just doing digital rules on a 2-year cycle with 2+ factions every month for 2 years. That will be even more churn, plus doing updates every 3 months. Mad Larkin, why? See, Mad Larkin, you're missing Mad Larkin. You're not getting it. You're not getting it. Why? The rules are digital now. I told you that not every faction would get a codex, or every faction would get an update within an edition. Do you want to know something that's crazy? That's how it used to be. See, Mad Larkin, you don't understand. You don't understand, man. You're trying to apply the old ways to the new ways. I never said every faction got an update in an edition. You could have it where a faction gets a good codex or good rules set. And then they just need tweaking a little bit. They just need tweaking. They just need tweaking. They just need tweaking. And then every 2 years we consolidate things together. And then they go back and then they do some. It used to be you got a codex. That codex could last you a couple of editions. And those editions could be 4 or 5 years. Could be 4 or 5 years. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Exactly. But the thing is, you get your, what I'm saying is, this is what I'm saying. Okay, hear me out. What I'm saying, hear me out. It's not that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You have a faction which you release, and each let's take an ideal scenario for a moment. A faction like Guard is released. Imagine the Guard Index. It released in a relatively solid state. Remember our reaction when we all first saw the Guard Index? We were like, this is solid. This is solid. It's solid. And then it just got tweaked. As things changed around it, it got tweaked. It got tweaked. Things got added, and then those got tweaked, and things got added, and those got tweaked. I'm talking full digital, baby. I'm talking full digital. I'm talking full digital. You're thinking I've got to make the old system fit inside the new system. I'm saying the old system is dead. Completely forget everything you knew. Completely forget everything you knew.
I only have one rule.
It's the new system. You're too. What did I say at the beginning? What did I say? All the detractors. All the detractors. All the detractors. Twitch, on YouTube, all the detractors. What I'm saying. What did I say at the beginning? What did I say at the beginning of this whole rant? I said that the Matrix is a system, Neo. Some people are so inured, so dependent on that system that they will fight to defend it. And what I'm telling you is, you are trying to stay in the Matrix. You're trying to stay in the Matrix. It's a new world. Were you listening to me, Mad Larkin? Or were you looking at the Sister of the Battle and the low-cut armor? Look again. Freeze program. It's a Tau player. Anyway, Salamander. I think what to respond to what you were saying. As Grim.Future, sorry, Nick. As Grim.Future said, you're trying to bend the spoon. You gotta realize there is no spoon. Exactly. 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 You've got to realize there is no spoon, because we keep going through the same cycle every 3 years. How was I able to predict that the game was going to break to quite literally the day? How did I predict that the game was going to break? How did I predict that everyone was going to get burned out? Why do I keep making these prophecies? Why do I keep making these calls that are accurate, that are scarily accurate? I shouldn't be able to make those calls because I'm a fucking idiot. So if an absolute moron like me can see the patterns, can see the patterns, can see the Matrix for what it is. If I can self-unplug from the Matrix, then that means there's a fucking problem. That's the issue. That's what I'm saying. We keep doing, every edition, we keep doing the same thing, expecting things to change. That's, by some definitions, insanity. What I propose is a radical new plan to bring peace, security, and prosperity to my new empire. Would you like to know more? If so, then please consider becoming a channel member or patron. By supporting the channel, not only will you be doing your part, but you'll also be helping me create more content for your viewing pleasure and unlocking a whole host of perks. You get everything from a badge next to your name, custom emojis, but the big one is access to the Mordian Glory Discord server, an online community with almost 2,500 active members. It's always popping off in the MG Discord. We've got channels for army lists, hobbying, tactics, stories, and even a pretty spicy meme section as well. For all you greenhorns that wanted to see the Mordian glory hole, today is your lucky day. And joking aside, I do want to say a massive thank you to all of the current channel members and patrons. You guys are amazing. Truly the lifeblood of the channel. I could not do Mordian Glory full-time without the incredible and generous support of my members. So thank you guys so much. And last but certainly not least, I want to say a personal thank you to all of my top tier Patreons. These are the War Masters, the people who have truly gone above and beyond the call of duty. So a heartfelt thank you to Alex Dengal, Bon Vert, Lord Pryor, Mark Panconi, RJ Scorpion, Swordfish Trombone, Try Again Bragg, John Stubbs, Nick Walsh, Diesel Fox, and August Barney. Seriously guys, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your support is incredible and it makes a huge difference. Thank you so much. That's all for now. Hope you've all enjoyed today's video, and of course, as always, see you guys next time.